The stars looked peaceful that morning. Admiral Hyan-Su stood on the observation deck of Earth Defense Station Luna, watching the distant sun paint everything gold. He had been in charge of Earth's outer defenses for 12 years. Most days were quiet. Today would be different. His coffee was still warm when the alarm started screaming. "Admiral!" Lieutenant Haywan's voice cracked through the speakers. "We have an unknown contact near Mars. It just appeared out of nowhere." Hyan-Su ran to the command center. The main screen showed something that should not exist. A ship hung in space near the red planet. It was beautiful in a terrible way. The hull looked like crystal, bending starlight into rainbow patterns. It was massive, maybe 2 kilometers long. Nothing on Earth could build something like that. "How did it get there?" Hyan-Su asked. "Unknown, sir. Our sensors detected nothing until it was already there. No heat signature during approach. No engine. Trails. It's like it just appeared." Captain Somin's voice came through the communication system from the EDS Incheon, humanity's most advanced warship. "Luna Station. This is Incheon. We see the contact. Should we move to intercept?" Hyan-Su thought quickly. First contact with aliens was something they had planned for, but not like this. The ship had appeared without warning in their solar system. That was either very advanced technology or an act of war. "Negative, Incheon. Hold position. Let's try talking first." The alien ship began broadcasting. The message came through their systems without any trouble, as if the aliens understood human technology perfectly. The voice was cold and mechanical. "Primitive species of the third planet. You will surrender immediately. Your world is now property of the Kelvani Empire. Resistance will result in total destruction." Silence filled the command center. Everyone stared at the screen. After a moment, Somin's voice came through the speakers again. "Luna Station, did they just demand our surrender?" "Yes, Captain. They did." Hyan-Su activated the communication array. His voice was steady as he responded to the alien ship. "Unknown. Vessel, this is Admiral Hyan-Su of Earth Defense Command. You are in violation of Earth territorial space. Leave immediately or we will consider your presence an act of war." The alien response was swift and horrible. A beam of white-hot energy shot from the crystal ship. It struck the mining station, on Phobos, one of Mars' small moons. The entire station, home to 300 workers, vanished in a ball of fire. The explosion was visible from Earth. "Dear God," someone whispered. The alien voice came again. "This was a demonstration. Surrender, now or watch your species burn." Hyan-Su felt ice in his stomach. These aliens had just murdered 300 people to make a point. They could destroy entire cities with that weapon, maybe entire continents. But what the aliens did not know was that Earth had been preparing for this day for 50 years. Hyan-Su opened a secure channel that only a few people on Earth could access. "Phoenix Base, this is Admiral Hyan-Su. Authorization code Thunder 7. We have hostile alien contact. They have fired first." Deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, Director Tai Yang received the message. He had been waiting for this call his entire life. Around him, the secret Phoenix Base hummed with activity. Hundreds of scientists and engineers worked at stations that officially did not exist. "Confirmed, Admiral. Phoenix protocols are now active. All hidden assets are coming online." Tai Yang turned to his staff. "Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to show the galaxy what humanity is really capable of." Across Earth's solar system, things that looked like asteroids began to move. Satellites that seemed to be for communication started changing shape. Mining equipment on the moon revealed hidden purposes. For decades, humanity had been building in secret, preparing for the day when they would not be alone in the universe. The Kelvani ship began moving toward Earth. Its crystal hull reflected the light of the sun, beautiful and deadly. Inside, the aliens were confident. They had destroyed thousands of worlds. This would be no different. Lieutenant Commander Young-Sik monitored the alien ship from his post on the hidden station Olympus. The station was built inside an asteroid, completely invisible to outside sensors. It had been his home for 5 years, waiting for a day like this. "Phoenix Base, this is Olympus Station. Target is moving toward Earth. Estimated arrival in 6 hours. Copy Olympus, begin Phase 1 activation. Young-Sik smiled grimly. Phase 1 was something the aliens would never expect. He activated systems that had been sleeping for years, sending signals to hidden installations throughout the solar system, onto the surface of Earth. People watched the news in horror. The destruction of Phobos Station had been broadcast around the world. Governments told their citizens to remain calm, but panic was spreading. Some people ran for bunkers, others prayed. Many simply watched the sky, waiting for death to fall from the stars. What they did not know was that their planet was not defenseless. Dr. Mi Kyung worked frantically in her laboratory beneath the Pacific Ocean. For 20 years, she had been developing weapons that could defend Earth from exactly this kind of threat. Her work was so secret that her own family thought she studied ocean biology. Base control, this is Deep Lab 7. Quantum torpedoes are armed and ready. Copy, Deep Lab. Stand by for firing orders. The alien ship continued its approach. Its captain, War Commander Zethvar, was already planning how to divide up the planet's resources. The humans had responded to their demonstration with more talking. Clearly, they were too primitive to understand their situation. Scan the planet, he ordered his crew. Identify major population centers for elimination. His ship's sensors swept across Earth, detecting billions of humans clustered in cities. Perfect targets. But something was wrong. The scans were showing energy readings that did not make sense. The planet had technology that registered as extremely advanced. But that was impossible. The humans had barely begun exploring their own solar system. Commander, these readings cannot be correct. The planet shows energy signatures consistent with a Class 7 civilization. Impossible. Run the scans again. Captain Somin watched the alien ship from the bridge of the Incheon. Her crew was ready for battle, but their conventional weapons would be useless against something that could destroy an entire station with one shot. However, the Incheon carried more than conventional weapons. Weapons control, this is the captain. Load the special package. Aye, Captain. Special package is loaded and ready. The special package was something that officially did not exist. It was a weapon that humanity had developed in the deepest secrecy, a device that could change the rules of warfare forever. As the alien ship drew closer to Earth, Admiral Hyun-soo prepared to give the order that would change human history. Around the solar system, weapons that had been hidden for decades powered up. The time for hiding was over. The aliens had demanded surrender. They had destroyed Phobos Station to prove their power. They thought humanity was helpless. They were about to learn how wrong they were. All stations, this is Admiral Hyun-soo, he said into his communication system. Phoenix is now active. Show them what humanity can do. The war for Earth was about to begin, but it would not be the war the aliens expected. 3 days after the Phobos Station attack, space around Earth lit up like fireworks. The Kelvani invasion fleet came out of hyperspace in perfect formation. 200 crystal ships hung against the stars, each one beautiful enough to make angels weep and powerful enough to crack planets. Fleet Commander Velthera stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Sorrow of Worlds. She had conquered 17 star systems for the Kelvani Empire. Primitive worlds fell before her like wheat before a scythe. Earth would be no different. Begin the assault, she commanded. Target their largest cities first. Make them understand. But as her ships moved toward the blue planet, something impossible happened. An asteroid moved. Colonel Jinwoo watched from the command center of Olympus Station as asteroid 2087 Delta revealed its true purpose. What had looked like a simple chunk of rock for 50 years suddenly unfolded like a metal flower. Massive acceleration rings emerged from hidden compartments. The asteroid was not an asteroid at all. It was humanity's first planetary siege cannon. Fire, Jinwoo said quietly. The magnetic acceleration chamber was 12 kilometers long. It had taken 20 years to build inside the fake asteroid. Now it fired its first shot in anger. A tungsten penetrator accelerated to 40% the speed of light. The projectile was only the size of a telephone pole, but at that speed it carried the energy of a nuclear bomb. The lead Kelvani ship, the Pride of Empire, simply stopped existing. One moment it was there, elegant and deadly. The next moment there was only an expanding cloud of vapor and twisted metal. Velthara stared at her screens in shock. What just happened? The ship is gone, Commander, completely destroyed. I cannot identify the weapon type. Impossible. These are primitives. They barely have chemical rockets. But even as she spoke, the second surprise revealed itself. Dr. Mi Kyung had spent 30 years working on Project Lunar Shield. Everyone thought the moon was just a big rock hanging in Earth's sky. They were wrong. The lunar surface erupted with weapon emplacements that had been hidden for decades. Mass drivers that had pretended to be mining equipment began hurling nuclear-tipped projectiles with deadly accuracy. The moon had become the galaxy's largest weapons platform. 3 more Kelvani ships died in the first minute of the bombardment. The nuclear warheads were not the primitive fusion bombs the aliens expected. These were matter-antimatter hybrids that burned with the fire of stars. All ships, evasive maneuvers, Velthara screamed into her communicator. Return fire immediately. The Kelvani fleet began shooting back with their plasma cannons and gravity bombs, but they could not target what they could not see. Captain Do Hyun commanded the stealth frigate Busan as it moved silently through the enemy formation. His ship was wrapped in metamaterials that bent light and radio waves around its hull, making it completely invisible. The technology had been developed by studying crashed alien ships that had visited Earth decades ago. Weapons ready, Captain, reported his tactical officer, Lieutenant Kyung Ho. Fire antimatter torpedoes. Full spread. The Busan carried humanity's most carefully guarded secret. Antimatter in quantities that should have been impossible for a young civilization. Each torpedo contained enough antimatter to power a city for a year. When they hit, matter and antimatter met and canceled each other out in explosions that rivaled supernovas. 5 Kelvani ships vanished in balls of pure energy. Velthara was beginning to understand that something was very wrong. How are they doing this? Our intelligence said they were barely spacefaring. Her science officer was pale with fear. Commander, I am detecting technology that should not exist. These weapons violate our understanding of physics. What the aliens did not know was that humanity had been cheating for 50 years. When the first alien scout ship had crashed in the Sahara Desert in 1973, human scientists had reverse-engineered its technology. When the second ship crashed in Siberia in 1981, they learned about hyperspace drives. When the third ship crashed in the Amazon in 1995, they discovered how to manipulate matter at the quantum level. Each crash had been carefully covered up. The wreckage was taken to secret facilities where Earth's greatest minds unlocked alien secrets. By the time the Kelvani arrived, humanity had technologies that were thousands of years ahead of their official development. Commander Yu Jin led her squadron of quantum fighters into battle. These were not the metal ships with chemical rockets that the aliens expected. Her fighters existed in quantum superposition, being in multiple places at once until the moment they attacked. When they struck, they collapsed into a single reality, with devastating effect. Phoenix Squadron, engage at will, she commanded. Her 12 fighters materialized inside the Kelvani formation like ghosts becoming real. Their exotic matter warheads did not just explode. They rewrote local physics, creating miniature black holes that consumed everything within 1,000 kilometers. 7 more alien ships were erased from existence. On Earth, people watched the battle on television and the internet. They saw explosions in space but did not understand what they were seeing. The news reporters talked about secret weapons and alien technology, but they had no idea how secret the weapons really were. President Na Young spoke to the world from the hidden bunker beneath Mount Weather. Citizens of Earth, I can now reveal that our planet has not been defenseless. For 50 years, we have been preparing for this day. Our military forces are engaging the alien invaders with weapons they cannot comprehend, but the greatest surprise was yet to come. Captain Inho stood on the bridge of the orbital command ship Indomitable. Around him, his crew monitored the most ambitious project in human history. For 30 years, they had been building a ring of satellites around the sun. From space, it looked like a simple solar collection array. It was not. Phoenix Base, this is Sol Command. The enemy fleet is in position. Request permission to activate the sun gun. Director Tae Yang's voice came back immediately. Permission granted. Show them the power of our star. The Sol defense grid was humanity's ultimate weapon. 10,000 satellites working together to focus the power of the sun itself into a coherent beam. It was a weapon that could sterilize entire star systems. Inho activated the firing sequence. All stations prepare for solar discharge. Fire. The beam that lanced out from the sun was visible from Earth's surface, a golden sword of stellar fire that cut through space at the speed of light. When it reached the Kelvani fleet, it was like watching paper burn. 50 ships died in the first second. The beam swept across the formation and everything it touched simply evaporated. Metal turned to gas. Gas turned to plasma. Plasma turned to light. Fleet Commander Velthara watched her fleet die and knew that she had made a terrible mistake. These were not primitives. These were something else entirely. Her flagship was one of the last to die. As the solar beam approached, she managed to send one final message to the Kelvani Empire. They are not what we thought. They are not prey. They are the predators we never saw coming. Do not send more ships. Do not come here. This world belongs to monsters who dress like angels. The beam reached her ship, and Velthara's warning became her epitaph. In less than 10 minutes, 200 Kelvani ships had been reduced to glowing particles. The most powerful invasion fleet in their empire's history had been destroyed by weapons that should not have existed. On Earth, people cheered and cried and hugged each other in the streets. They had been saved by miracles they did not understand. But in the hidden command centers where humanity's real defenders worked, there was no celebration. They knew this was only the beginning. The Kelvani Empire would send more ships, and when they did, humanity would be ready with even more impossible weapons. Admiral Hyun-soo looked at the debris field that had once been an alien fleet. Get me a casualty report. How many of our people did we lose? 0 casualties, sir. All our ships returned safely. Hyun-soo nodded grimly. The aliens had fired first. They had destroyed Phobos Station and murdered 300 innocent people. They had demanded humanity's surrender and threatened to burn their world. They had learned that some species do not surrender. Some species fight back with the fury of 1,000 suns. The galaxy was about to discover what happened when you woke up the sleeping giant called humanity. The Kelvani Empire's rage burned across 100 worlds. War Master Kethanol had never lost a battle in 300 years of conquest. Now he stared at the reports from Earth and felt something he had forgotten existed. Fear. 2 fleets destroyed. 400 ships gone. Not a single human casualty. Impossible, he growled, his crystalline features glowing with anger. Bring me the 3rd Armada. 500 ships. The finest warriors in the Empire. We will turn their world to glass. His aide trembled as she spoke. War Master, perhaps we should reconsider. The humans have technology we do not understand. Kethanol struck her down with one blow. The humans are insects. They got lucky twice. There will not be a third time. 500 Kelvani ships entered hyperspace heading for Earth. They carried weapons that could boil oceans and crack continents. War Master Kethanol was certain they would be enough. He was wrong. General Sung Min stood in the Prometheus complex, a hidden city built inside Mount Everest. Around him, holographic displays showed the true scope of humanity's preparations. What the aliens saw as a single planet was actually a fortress that had been under construction for 50 years. Sir, long-range sensors detect the incoming fleet, reported Major Yoonji. 500 ships larger than the previous forces. Sung-min nodded calmly. Activate all defensive systems. It's time to show them what Earth really is. The space elevator that connected Earth to its orbital stations looked like a simple transportation system. The aliens had dismissed it as primitive infrastructure. They did not know it was actually a mass driver capable of launching city-sized projectiles into deep space. Engineer Dongwook activated the elevator's hidden systems. Prometheus Base, this is Elevator Command. We have target lock on the incoming fleet. Ready to fire. Fire at will, elevator command. The space elevator rotated slightly, aiming at a point in space where the alien fleet would arrive. Then it fired. A projectile the size of a city block accelerated up the elevator shaft and into space. The projectile was not explosive. It did not need to be. At the speed it was traveling, it had more kinetic energy than the largest nuclear bomb. When the Kelvani fleet dropped out of hyperspace, the projectile was waiting for them. It punched through the lead ship like a bullet through paper, then continued through 17 more ships before its energy was spent. 18 vessels died in the first second of the battle. War Master Kethanol roared in fury. "Return fire, destroy that launcher!" But the space elevator was protected by something even more impossible than itself. Commander Yujin led the new generation of human fighters into battle. These ships did not exist in normal space. They flickered in and out of reality, using quantum tunneling to appear inside enemy formations without crossing the space between. Phoenix Wing, this is Phoenix Leader. Targets are locked. Beginning quantum strike. Her squadron materialized inside the Kelvani formation like angry ghosts. Their weapons did not fire bullets or energy beams. They fired packets of twisted space-time that turned matter inside out. Where the weapons hit, alien ships folded in on themselves and disappeared into dimensions that had no names. 20 more. Ships died in explosions that looked like flowers made of broken reality. But humanity's greatest surprise was still hidden. Dr. Jae Sung had spent 40 years studying the deepest secrets of physics. His laboratory beneath the Antarctic ice contained machines that bent the laws of nature into new shapes. Now his life's work would be tested in battle. Phoenix Base, this is Deep Lab Alpha. The reality engine is online and ready. Deploy the reality engine, Doctor. Show them what impossible looks like. The reality engine was humanity's most terrifying weapon. It did not destroy matter. It convinced matter that it had never existed in the first place. The first Kelvani ship to be targeted by the weapon did not explode or burn. It simply stopped being real, leaving behind a hole in space that made people's eyes hurt to look at. 50 ships vanished, as if they had been dreams that someone stopped dreaming. War Master Kethanol watched his fleet die and felt madness creeping into his mind. What are these weapons? They violate every law of physics. His science officer was weeping tears of liquid crystal. War Master, they are rewriting reality itself. Our ships are not being destroyed. They are being made to never have existed. The orbital ring around Earth had seemed like a simple energy collection system. The aliens had scanned it and found nothing but solar panels and storage batteries. They had been looking at the wrong thing. Captain Minho commanded the ring's true purpose from his hidden control station. All segments prepare for stellar beam projection. Target the enemy flagship. The ring was not just around Earth. It extended into space, connecting to hidden stations throughout the solar system. It was a particle accelerator the size of a solar system, capable of creating beams that could punch holes through planets. Fire, Minho said quietly. The beam that struck War Master Kethanol's flagship was invisible to normal eyes. It was a stream of particles accelerated to 99% of light speed. When it hit the ship's shields, the shields simply stopped working. When it hit the hull turned into gas. When it hit the ship's core, the core became light. The flagship and everything in it ceased to exist in less than a second. Theo. Remaining Kelvani ships tried to retreat, but humanity had one more surprise waiting for them. Lieutenant Haewon commanded a squadron of temporal fighters, ships that moved by manipulating time itself. They could arrive at their destination before they had left their starting point. The psychological effect on the enemy was devastating. Kronos Squadron, begin temporal strikes, she ordered. Her fighters appeared throughout the Kelvani formation, striking ships that had not yet been born. The aliens found themselves under attack by weapons that hit them in the past, present, and future all at once. The surviving Kelvani ships broke formation and tried to escape. But there was nowhere to run. Humanity's weapons could reach across dimensions through time and into the spaces between spaces. In 15 minutes, 500 ships had been reduced to scattered atoms and twisted memories. The few escape pods that survived carried a single message back to the Kelvani Empire. War Master Kethanol's final words, transmitted just before his ship stopped existing. They are not bound by the laws we know. They are something else entirely. Do not come here. This world belongs to gods who pretend to be mortals. On Earth, people watched the battle and tried to understand what they were seeing. The news showed explosions in space, but they looked wrong. Ships that folded in on themselves. Beams of light that made holes in reality. Fighters that attacked enemies in the past. President Na Young addressed the world again. Citizens of Earth, I can now reveal the full truth. For 50 years, our greatest scientists have been developing technologies that go beyond current physics. We have learned to manipulate matter, energy, space, and time itself. We are no longer the primitive species that the aliens thought we were. But in the secret command centers, humanity's defenders knew that this was still not over. The Kelvani Empire would not accept defeat. They would send allies. They would bring weapons of their own. Admiral Hyan-Su looked at the debris field, where another alien fleet had died. How long until they send reinforcements? Unknown, sir. But when they come, they will bring everything they have. Hyan-Su smiled grimly. Good. We haven't shown them our best weapons yet. Deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, Director Tae Yang activated protocols that were even more secret than the ones they had already used. Around the solar system, weapons that existed in parallel dimensions began powering up. Ships that could travel faster than light without using hyperspace prepared for launch. Soldiers who had been enhanced beyond human limits checked their equipment. The aliens had tested humanity 3 times and learned nothing except how to die. When they came again, they would discover that Earth's defenders had been holding back. The galaxy was about to learn that there were worse things than losing a war. There was making humanity angry. The call went out across the galaxy. Supreme Admiral Voxthul had never assembled such a force in his 1,000 years of service. 3,000 ships from 3 different species, united by fear and rage. The Kelvani Empire had brought their machine allies, the Nexari Collective, and their psychic partners, the Veldari. This force has never known defeat, Voxthul declared to his combined fleet. Today we will wipe the human stain from the galaxy forever. The Nexari constructs were pure machine intelligence in ship form. They thought in calculations and probabilities. The humans had a 0% chance of survival against such overwhelming force. The Veldari ships pulsed with psychic energy. Their collective consciousness spanned light years, allowing perfect coordination. No enemy had ever stood against their combined mental might. 3,000 ships entered hyperspace heading for Earth. They carried enough firepower to sterilize entire star systems. Supreme Admiral Voxthul was certain that this time, the humans would fall. He had no idea that humanity had been waiting for exactly this moment. Admiral Ji-hoon stood on the bridge of the flagship Seoul, as humanity's true fleet emerged from the outer darkness. These were not the defensive platforms that had protected Earth. These were humanity's deep space hunters, built in secret shipyards hidden beyond Pluto. Each ship was a masterpiece of impossible engineering. The Seoul itself was constructed from programmable matter that could reshape itself at will. Its hull could become a weapon, a shield, or a doorway to other dimensions as needed. Fleet Command, this is Admiral Ji-hoon. All ships report ready for combat. Behind the Seoul came vessels that defied comprehension, ships that existed partially, outside normal space-time, fighters that moved by convincing the universe they were already where they wanted to be, destroyers powered by controlled black holes. Sir, enemy fleet detected at the edge of the system, reported Captain Wanbin from his station. 3,000 ships, multiple species. Ji-hoon smiled coldly. Perfect. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity has really been building. The human fleet did not wait for the aliens to attack. They struck first, using weapons that redefined the meaning of warfare. Dr. Yoon-ji had perfected the Cascade Driver after decades of research. The weapon did not destroy matter by breaking it apart. It convinced Matter that it had never been real, in the first place. The first Nexari construct to be hit simply stopped existing, leaving behind a void that reality rushed to fill. Cascade effect confirmed, she reported from her laboratory ship. Target has been removed from all timelines. The Nexari machines tried to analyze what had happened to their companion. Their calculations showed impossible results. Matter could not simply cease to exist, yet their sensors detected nothing where a ship had been moments before. Lieutenant Dongwook commanded the Time Corps, humanity's most elite unit. His fighters did not travel through space to reach their targets. They traveled through time, arriving at the battle before it had begun. Time Corps, this is Phoenix Actual. Begin temporal strikes. His squadron appeared throughout the alien formation, attacking ships in their past, present, and future. Simultaneously, the Nexari machines found themselves under fire from weapons that hit them yesterday, today, and tomorrow all at once. Their logical minds could not process the paradox. 50 ships died before they realized they were under attack. But the true horror for the alien alliance came when humanity revealed what they had learned from studying psychic aliens. Commander Jae Sung had spent 30 years developing weapons that could fight on the mental battlefield. His Psi-Warfare division did not use guns or missiles. They used thoughts as weapons, turning the enemy's greatest strength against them. Psi Corps, begin mental assault, he ordered. The attack hit the Veldari collective consciousness like a virus made of pure madness. Instead of coordinated thoughts, they suddenly experienced the memories of every human who had ever died in war. They felt the rage of Earth's defenders. They experienced what it meant to fight for survival against impossible odds. The psychic feedback shattered their collective mind across light years. 100 Veldari ships stopped functioning as their crews collapsed into catatonic shock. Supreme Admiral Voxthol watched his allies fall and felt something he had not experienced in centuries. Doubt. All ships, focus fire on the human flagship, he commanded. Concentrate everything on one target. 2,000 plasma cannons fired at once. Gravity bombs that could crush planets streaked toward the soul. Energy beams that could boil stars focused on a single point. Admiral Ji-hoon did not even blink. Defensive systems, engage. The soul's programmable hull shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Some sections became perfect mirrors that reflected energy back at the attackers. Other sections opened portals that sent incoming missiles into parallel dimensions. The gravity bombs were caught in artificial black holes and crushed into nothingness. When the bombardment ended, the soul hung in space without a scratch. Impossible, Voxthol whispered. Ji-hoon activated the communication system. His voice reached every ship in the alien fleet. You came to our system uninvited. You attacked our people without provocation. You demanded our surrender and threatened our extinction. Now you will learn why that was a mistake. The soul began to change. Its hull opened like a flower, revealing weapons that existed in multiple dimensions at once. When they fired, reality itself screamed. The first shot erased a 1,000-meter section from the center of Voxthol's flagship. The metal did not melt or vaporize. It simply stopped being there, leaving a perfect hole that went through 17 decks. Captain So-min commanded the destroyer Incheon as it demonstrated humanity's mastery over physics. Her ship fired quantum torpedoes that existed in superposition until they struck their targets. Each torpedo hit every possible point on the enemy ship simultaneously, causing impossible damage. Direct hit on enemy cruiser, reported her weapons officer. Target is experiencing structural failure across all possible dimensions. The cruiser tried to exist in 17 different realities at once and failed spectacularly. Dr. Min Kyung's research vessel carried the strangest weapon in humanity's arsenal. The probability engine could change the laws of chance themselves. She aimed it at a squadron of Nexari ships and fired. Suddenly, every system on the enemy ships began to malfunction at once. Their probability of failure had been changed from nearly zero to absolutely certain. Weapons exploded in their magazines. Shields collapsed without being hit. Engines tore themselves apart. Probability cascade successful, Min Kyung reported. Enemy squadron has achieved total system failure through impossible bad luck. The battle raged for 6 hours. But the outcome was never in doubt. Humanity had spent 50 years preparing for this moment. Every weapon had been designed to fight an enemy that outnumbered them 1,000 to 1. Lieutenant Haywan's stealth destroyers appeared throughout the alien fleet like deadly phantoms. They used dimensional anchors to prevent escape, trapping the aliens in normal space where humanity's weapons could reach them. Commander Yujin led her fighter squadrons in attacks that defied every law of warfare. Her pilots could split their ships into multiple quantum states, allowing them to be in dozens of places at once. Each fighter became a swarm of possibilities that converged on enemy targets with devastating effect. As the alien fleet died around him, Supreme Admiral Voxthol sent one final message to the galaxy. "This is Supreme Admiral Voxthol of the Kelvani Empire. I am transmitting from the human star system. Our combined fleet has been destroyed by weapons that should not exist. The humans are not a primitive species. They are something beyond our understanding. Do not come here. Do not provoke them. They have made war itself obsolete." The transmission ended as his flagship folded in on itself and disappeared into a dimension that had no name. In 8 hours, 3,000 ships had been reduced to scattered particles and broken mathematics. The greatest military force in galactic history had been annihilated by a species that had not even left their home system a century ago. Admiral Ji-hoon surveyed the battlefield where reality itself had been scarred by impossible weapons. Casualty. Report. 0 human casualties, sir. All ships operational. Ji-hoon nodded. The aliens had brought everything they had. Machines that could calculate every possibility. Psychics who could read minds across space. Warriors who had conquered 1,000 worlds. None of it had mattered. "Send a message to Earth," Ji-hoon ordered. "Tell them the galaxy is safe. Tell them humanity has proven itself ready for what comes next." But even as he spoke, humanity's scientists were already working on the next generation of weapons. Devices that could fight in 11 dimensions at once. Ships that could exist in the spaces between thoughts. Soldiers who had become something more than human. The galaxy had tested humanity and found them terrifying. Now it was time to see what peace looked like when it was enforced by gods. The Galactic Council had ruled for 10,000 years. 23 species bound together by mutual fear and careful balance of power. They met in the great halls above Centauri Prime, where representatives debated the fate of countless worlds. Today, they faced a crisis that threatened everything they knew. Council Speaker Tethmaran called the emergency session to order. His voice carried the weight of millennia. "We are here to discuss the human situation. In 6 months, they have destroyed 4 separate invasion fleets. The Kelvani Empire no longer exists. The Nexari Collective has withdrawn to their core worlds. The Veldari have gone silent." Murmurs of fear rippled through the chamber. 23 species that had never agreed on anything now face the same terrible question. What do you do when a new species rewrites the rules of warfare overnight? "We have 3 choices," Tethmaran continued. "We can try to destroy them before they become more powerful. We can ignore them and hope they ignore us. Or we can try to negotiate." Ambassador Krikstar of the Axian Republic spoke first. "We should strike now, before they develop even more impossible weapons. Every day we wait makes them stronger." "With what?" demanded General Velnash of the hegemony. "They destroyed 3,000 ships without taking a single casualty. Our combined fleets would fare no better." "Then we run," suggested Councillor Methra of the Drift Worlds. "We abandon this part of the galaxy and build our civilizations elsewhere, and leave them to spread unchecked?" Tethmaran's crystal eyes flashed with ancient wisdom. "No, we must try to talk to them. But who will make first contact with beings? Who can rewrite reality?" The answer came from President Na Young as she entered the council chambers. She walked calmly down the central aisle, flanked by Admiral Wanbin and Director Tae Yang. Behind them came a single ship that had materialized in the system without triggering any sensors. The entire council fell silent. This was the first time a human had set foot in their sacred halls. "Honored representatives," Na Young said in perfect, galactic standard, I am President Nayung of Earth. I come in peace, but I come with strength. The ship that hung outside the station was smaller than most council vessels, but it radiated power that made their sensors scream warnings. Every representative could feel it in their bones. This ship could destroy their entire fleet without effort. Tethmaran found his voice. President Na Young, your species had made quite an impression on the galaxy. We defended ourselves, Na Young replied simply. 4 times, alien fleets came to our system with demands for surrender. 4 times they fired first. 4 times, they learned that some species do not yield to threats. Your weapons, Counselor Zethvar of the Crystal Dominion spoke carefully. They violate known physics. How is this possible? Director Tae Yang stepped forward. For 50 years we have been studying crashed alien vessels that reached our world. We learned from each one. We adapted your technologies and improved them. What you call impossible, we call Tuesday. The implications hit the Council like a physical blow. The humans had been reverse engineering galactic technology for decades. They had taken the best ideas from every species and made them better. If this is what you built while isolated on one world, Tethmaran asked quietly, what will you become now that you know you are not alone? Na Young smiled, and somehow that was more terrifying than any weapon. We hope to find out together. We come with an offer of partnership, not conquest. Admiral Wanbin activated a holographic display that showed Earth's solar system, but now it revealed the true scope of human construction. Hidden stations throughout the system, weapons platforms disguised as asteroids, ships that existed in parallel dimensions. This is what we built for defense, Wanbin explained. But we can build other things, ships for exploration, stations for research, technologies for healing and creation instead of destruction. What do you want from us? Asked General Velnash. Nothing, Nayung replied. We want to offer something to you. Protection, peace, an end to the cycle of conquest and fear that has defined galactic civilization. The Council erupted in confused voices. Species that had ruled through strength could not understand the concept of protection without domination. Ambassador Min Seok stepped forward with a document that glowed with soft light. These are the terms of Earth's integration into galactic society. We will share selected technologies with species that demonstrate peaceful intent. We will establish joint research stations. We will mediate disputes between civilizations. And, if we refuse, Krikstar demanded. Min Seok's expression remained calm. Then you continue as you always have, but you do so under humanity's protection, whether you want it or not. The words were spoken gently, but everyone understood the implication. Humanity was not asking permission to become the galaxy's guardians. They were informing the Council of a decision already made. Tethmaran studied the human president with ancient eyes. You speak of protection, but your weapons suggest conquest. Our weapons exist because peace is only possible when no one dares to break it, Na Young replied. For 10,000 years, your council has maintained order through balance of power. Nations stayed peaceful because they feared each other equally. That system is obsolete. She gestured to the displays around the chamber. Today, one species has made war itself pointless. We can destroy any fleet, conquer any world, defeat any alliance, but we choose not to. Instead, we offer something new, peace through absolute deterrence. Admiral Wanbin added, any species that attacks another will face humanity's response. Any fleet that threatens civilians will be stopped. Any war that starts will be ended quickly and permanently. And who watches the Watchers? Counselor Methra asked. What stops humanity from becoming the tyrants you claim to oppose? Director Tae Yang answered with quiet confidence. Our children. Every human alive today grew up knowing we were not alone in the universe. They were raised to see other species as neighbors, not enemies. Our culture values diversity and cooperation because we know that survival depends on working together. The debate continued for hours, but the outcome was inevitable. Species after species agreed to the new arrangement. Some joined willingly, eager for protection and partnership. Others agreed reluctantly, knowing they had no choice. By the end of the session, the galaxy had a new structure. Earth was not a member of the Council. It was something above the Council. The guarantor of peace, the final arbiter of disputes. Director Su Jin established the first human peacekeeping academy on Titan. Representatives from every species came to learn human military doctrine. The lessons were simple but profound. Overwhelming force in service of peace. Technology so advanced that resistance was futile. Mercy for those who yielded. Absolute destruction for those who did not. 6 months later, the first mixed-species crews took command of human-designed vessels. These ships patrolled trade routes and protected colonies. They carried weapons that could stop wars before they started and tools that could build civilizations from scratch. Captain Young Ho commanded the exploration vessel Sejong as it approached the edge of known space. His crew included humans, Kelvani survivors, reformed Nexari units, and even some Veldari who had recovered from their psychic trauma. "Captain," reported his alien science officer, "we are detecting new civilizations in the next star cluster. Should we make contact?" Young-ho smiled as he looked at the diverse crew around him. A generation ago, these species had been trying to destroy each other. Now they worked together, exploring the galaxy under humanity's protection. "Open a channel," he ordered. "Let's introduce ourselves properly this time." The message that went out to the unknown civilizations was simple. "Greetings from the Galactic Council. We come in peace under the protection of Earth. We offer friendship, trade, and knowledge. We ask only that you extend the same courtesy to others." Behind the friendly words was an unspoken promise. Accept peace and the galaxy's resources were open to you. Choose war, and you would face weapons that could rewrite reality itself. As the Sejong crossed into uncharted space, Young-ho reflected on what humanity had accomplished. They had taken a galaxy ruled by fear and turned it into something better, not through conquest but through the simple demonstration that some things were worth fighting for. The universe was vast and full of wonders. There would always be new species to meet, new challenges to face, new mysteries to solve. But whatever they found out there, they would meet it together. The age of galactic warfare was over. The age of exploration had begun. And at the heart of it all was a small blue planet where people had looked at the stars and decided that the universe needed guardians. They had built weapons that could destroy gods and chosen instead to protect children. The galaxy was finally at peace. And it would stay that way because humanity had learned the greatest lesson of all. Sometimes you have to be strong enough to destroy everything in order to save anything. In the deep space between stars, ancient monitoring stations detected the change. The galaxy's background radiation had shifted. The cosmic web itself seemed calmer. For the first time in billions of years, an entire galaxy was at peace. The universe noticed and approved.